Hi, this is Brandon Moon with Moonlit Fly Fishing. I want to welcome you to Fly Tying Night tonight. Tonight we're going to be tying up a quill-bodied CDC soft tackle nymph. The CDC's real cool fiber, really soft, going to give a nice flow, but it's also going to trap air bubbles, and it's going to be a real nice and realistic natural effect to this bug as it's acting as if it's trapping some air bubbles. So you can tie this in a variety of different colors. This one we're tying in blue. We've had a lot of success over the last year and a half with blue flies, especially this metallic blue bead's been very good for us. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Before we do that though, I want to invite you to make sure you like your favorite videos. Hopefully this video is one of them. Make sure that you leave a comment, say hi, or ask a question. We'd love to interact with you there. Make sure and hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive future notifications. These things help us a lot with the algorithm and get seen, and says to YouTube that our content is being engaged with and more valuable. So we appreciate it when you guys do those things for us. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with the hook. The hook we're using is an ML 501. This is a Tagata hook. It's a standard wired forged jig hook. We're tying it in a size 14. That's my favorite size. You can tie this in any size you want. The bead, we're using a 3.0 millimeter metallic blue. If you were doing this kind of like a Euro, you could even go with a 3.5 for a little bit extra weight to get this thing down a little bit faster. So with that, we'll go ahead and put the hook in the vise. Get this started today. So for the thread, I'm using Semperfli's Classic Wax in the 12-aught navy blue. I also like the cornflower for blue, but you can tie it in purple, you can tie it in olives, yellows, any color you want. You could even do it in a bright, high-vis fluorescent color. So I'm just going to start the thread there behind the bead. You could put a thread dam there behind the bead to help make sure it stays in place. I usually don't. It's not something that I try and worry about. I want that nice and free later on anyways. So okay, now we're going to go ahead and tie in our tail. This is a done Mayfly CDL Coque de Leon from Whiting. I'm just going to take a nice little clump. I'm going to even out the tips, hold them in place, pull them off. Now I'm going to take these, and I'm going to measure this out to be the length of the hook shank. Tie that in. I'm just going to secure this all the way up this hook shank pretty much. We'll get up here to the front. I'll trim that out. Then I'll just cover that all up. Now I'm just going to go back to the rear of the fly where the tail is again. I want to keep nice even wraps, create a nice even underbody. Now I'm going to come underneath this tail twice, and then I'm just going to pull that thread nice and tight up in there, and that's just going to help make sure this tail stays nice and vertical out the back end. Okay, for the body on this, I'm using, for this size, a size 14. This is a medium, and it is the Semperfli Perfect Quill. This is the clear. I'm using the clear so that I can get the color of my thread to be the body color of the biot, or the quill that I'm tying. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to tie it with the black side down. I'm just going to tie that in there, secure that down. Now I'm just going to trim out that little tip piece that I had remaining. And I want to make sure I create a nice little taper to this body. So I'm going to use thread wraps to create this taper. So I'm going to go back and forth, creating a nice taper to this fly. Not necessarily the biggest thing, but I like a nice proportioned, symmetrical fly. And I believe that body taper has something to do with that. Now you can see that I've got a good bead's length behind my body here. And that's for my thorax and my hackle. So I'm just going to half hitch that there so I can wrap my body using the rotary feature of my vise. Now there's a little sticky piece on this, and I want that sticky piece to go against the thread. And I'm just going to wrap this and use that black mark. I'm just going to kind of come up over the top of the edges of that to kind of create that rib effect that you get from a quill. Let's wrap that all the way up in there. Now we'll just secure that off. Now when I pull this and when I trim it out, I'm going to kind of pull it tight just a little bit and snip it. Now I'm just going to make sure I secure that down really good. I'm going to half hitch one more time. Now we're going to take some Solares thin hard UV resin. I'm just going to put a little bit on here. I don't need a lot. I'm just going to use it to kind of create a nice smooth barrier over this. If it was an actual quill body, those are pretty brittle. This helps to make sure it's a more durable fly. So I'm just going to smooth that out over the top of that. Now I'm going to take my UV pin and cure that up. Okay, for the thorax on this, I'm actually going to be using a hare's ear substitute vacuna dubbing in the UV. So it's a UV hare's ear substitute. So I'm going to take and put some wax down on my thread. And I like to put the wax down, just helps grip it and get a nice little tighter dubbing rope. So I'm going to take a small pinch of this and I'm going to create a dubbing rope. Little bits at a time makes it easier to noodle, dub them on that, make a nice good rope. You can see it's still going to have that nice buggy look to it though. Now I'm just going to take my rotary and wrap my thorax here. I don't want to crowd the bead on this so that I have room to wrap my hackle. Okay, so now I'm just going to pull all those fibers rearward. I'll just give me 2 wraps in there. Now I'm going to take and create a small dubbing loop. I'm going to take my Swiss CDC dubbing loop tool. Just set that there. I am going to half hitch this again right here. You don't have to. I don't have my regular vise that has my bobbin rest on it, so that's why a big reason why I'm half hitching this right now. So now I'm going to take, and I have 2 pieces of CDC. I'm using the dark gray dun from Nature's Spirit. I just have 2 pieces here. I'm going to line those tips up and the stems, and then I'm going to take, and I kind of want to palmer that down too. Now I'm going to take this Stonfo clip here. I'm going to set that in there just like that. Sorry, you probably didn't see me do that. Now I'm just going to take my scissors and trim this along that stem. I want to give myself room here for this CDC to kind of bite on my thread. I'm going to take just a little bit of wax, not a lot, just a little bit. Now I'm going to take the CDC, I'm going to set that over the top of that clip until it falls over or off. Okay, you can see that's in there. Now I'm just going to spin this so it secures in that thread. Now I'm just going to wrap this just like I would to palmer a soft hackle. This is why I like the 12/0 thread, though it doesn't build up as much, and so allows me to wrap that in there without over stacking that. I'm going to be pulling these fibers rearward with each wrap. Now I just need to secure that in just like I would a hackle stem. Trim it out. You can do 3 CDC plumes or whatever they're called in here. Now I'm just going to take, and these are a little too long, so I'm just going to pinch them and pull them, and that'll shorten them up. Okay, now I'm just going to whip finish this here. Well, I want to build in that collar just a little bit more. You can use a hot spot colored thread for this part too, but I haven't really found that I need to. I know a lot of people believe in that. Now I'm going to take a little more of that thin hard UV glue. Just going to put a little bit on that bead. I'm going to take my bodkin. I'm going to spread that down into the thread. That's going to secure that knot from coming undone and unraveling any kind of the fly here. So we're going to have a real durable fly. Also gives a little bit of a protective coating on my bead. So now I've got that cured or on there. I'm just going to cure it. You can see the UV properties in that Vicuna hare's ear substitute that I'm using. It's just going to be a real nice effective fly. It's going to catch a lot of fish for you. So okay, that's it. And that's all this fly has to it. You can change up the fly by changing the color of CDC, color of thread you're using for this pattern. Tie it up in a bunch of different sizes and colors and fish it away. It's going to be an effective pattern for you. So we want to thank you for watching tonight. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop us a comment. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive future notification. Doing these things helps us out a lot and we appreciate it a great deal. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful evening.